Welcome to Biotech.
Thank you.
This Professor Chris Hollinger is from DQ University, and he's my partner, my friend, and my mentor. So we know each other for many years, and through Hollinger and you, the nano-sized CBDs. And nowadays, the major topic for everybody is coronavirus and affecting the whole world by now. And how you're gonna, preventing the virus affect your body is increase your immune systems. How to increase immune systems and make your body stronger, not get the virus affected. That's the main topic. And today, it's our honor to get Professor Hollinger to here and tell us a little bit more about himself and the medicine he made, and how the medicine help human's body. First of all, Chris, can you tell me something about yourself and when, how you get started with the CBD nano-sized?
Well, my great-grandfather was Tesla's partner, and I didn't ever meet my great-grandfather. He was dead and gone before I was born. But he worked with Nikola Tesla back in the latter part of the 1800s until 1907, and then my grandfather was a nuclear physicist during World War I and World War II, and right up until the 1950s, he was also one of the inventors of refrigeration systems back as far as 1903, and then if you look up our last name, which is Hulliger, you'll see Hulliger or Hulliger. We actually pronounce our name Hulliger. There's Hulliger Technologies, and you'll see some accreditation to C. Holliger, and that's me. And then J. Holliger is my cousin Jörg. He's the professor at University of Switzerland in Bern. And we both work in nanotechnology, and so that's kind of some of my accreditation. I did not go to school to learn nanotechnology. It's a part of our family. Our family's been doing nanotechnology since the mid 1800s.
It's about 100 years.
Yeah.
Since you were doing the nanotechnology. I knew you were working for UC Davis.
I didn't work for UC Davis. I worked under Dr. Richard White. I was a researcher, a contractor under Dr. Richard White at UC Davis.
Okay. What's the subject you're working with?
Pediatric oncology.
Right. And are you using the technology to curing the pets?
Nanotechnology had not been used there yet, not for medicine. Nanotechnology had been used for industrial, and it really hadn't even been launched yet. People didn't know what it was. Most scientists, understood the theory, but they didn't know how to get to it. And the rate of the nanometer that anybody was able to attain was not really in the registry of what we call true nano. True nano is anything below 9.999999 nanometers, and most of the manufacturers that manufacture products in what they call nanotechnology doesn't even come anywhere close. A true nanotechnologist, the reason why they're looking to attain something around 10 nanometers is because the blood-brain barrier has a variance in males between 28 and 64 nanometers. So if the nanoparticle that you're making is larger than 28 nanometers, actually if it's larger than 20 nanometers, you're not going to get anything done. You're not going to be able to actually cure cancer. Because most cancers, the pore is is smaller than, the blood-brain barrier. And that's the reason why it's hard to fight cancer, especially with sarcomas. And sarcomas are like a calcium deposit, the way that it forms. It's almost like a rock in your system. So if you are able to, break the particle or the molecule down as far as, 2 to 6 nanometers, you're going to have 100% success. But if it's, up around 50 nanometers or 200 nanometers, you're just going to be just like a run-of-the-mill, CBD manufacturer. And, we are the best. There's no manufacturer out there that's able to break down a particle down to 2 nanometers like us.
Right. And also, you have an amazing story of you are using the CBDs and curing your own cancers.
Yes.
Can you tell me something about that story?
Well, I was in the military. I mean, it goes back to being in the military. And I was on the USS Enterprise, and from 1981 to, the mid part of 82. And the ship had a reactor that overheated because we were in dry dock in Bremerton, Washington. So that, reactor cracked. It released a lot of radiation. And actually it affected most of the people around the Puget Sound. And they quarantined every, sailor, Marine, and a private, contractor personnel on and around that ship, and sent us off to get daggone it, clean the radiation out of us. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, and we'll go on.
Quarantine?
Huh?
Quarantine?
No, we were quarantined. Yeah, we did have to do the iodine flush, all that. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, as a result of being poisoned by, by radiation, plutonium, all of us on that ship got a major exposure. And in 1989, I got, my first bout with cancer, which was lymphoma, the first bout of lymphoma. With that, I used, my CBD. I hadn't broken it down all the way down to 2 nanometers yet. It took years to actually get the technology, to create the technology to get it down that small. But I did manage to beat my cancer the first time, but I wasn't stage 4. I was just stage 2 lymphoma. The second bout with cancer was 1994. I had testicular cancer and I lost one of my testicles. That was in Salinas, California, and I didn't do chemo, didn't do anything. I took a bunch of different herbs, including cannabinoids. I was growing a CBD THC strain in Big Sur, and I was eating it raw, and so anyway, I kind of beat my cancer with that one. But then in 2010, I got diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 4, and then I went in for treatment. They did 3 rounds of chemo, or started on 3. I did 1 round, that knocked me out. The second round nearly killed me. Halfway through the 3rd round, I didn't complete 3 rounds. They sent me home to die because they told me that I literally had 5 days to live. And I begged my nurse took me to my doctor's office, and I went in with a bottle of nano-sized injectable CBD that I had made at UC Davis back in 1992. And we got Dr. Anderson, I'm not supposed to say his name. Anyway, my doctor, my oncologist, to run a catheter through my femoral artery and run that all the way up to my pancreas, and they made me do the infusion. So I infused that CBD, which was 6 milliliters of CBD, that was 28 milligrams per milliliter. At that time, I had it nanosized down to about 20 nanometers. You know, so it was already, you know, breaking through the blood-brain barrier, but it wasn't at 2, where it is now. And so now you know, between 1990, from 1990 to now, you know, I've been able to take it down from about 60 nanometers to 2 nanometers. And in nanotechnology, that's a great feat, because there's 150,000 other scientists out there trying to do the same thing, and they were never able to do it. You know, now they are, but they're still not able to get below 8. The lowest I've seen from any nanotechnologist is 8 nanometers, but that's at NASA.
So you inject that nano CBD, 20 nano CBDs to your tumor.
Yes.
And what happened after that? The tumor gone?
Well, you know, my chest was kind of about this big up, and it knocked me out. I kind of went into a little bit of a coma, you know, in and out, and you know, after about 3 days, you know, the doctors saw the tumor. Sorry, man. It's hard to talk about having cancer. You know, so the tumor shrunk after about 3 days, and after 7 days, you know, you couldn't even see that I had cancer. You know, as far as the size of my chest, and they knew that something was going on, so they wheeled in MRI so that they could look at it, and they saw that the cancer had reduced by 70%.
So therefore you're using the narrow size technology of the CBDs, helping a lot of people outside though. How many patients you have been diagnosed and treated by your nanotechnology?
With all the different doctors that I work with today, about 140,000.
100,000 patients.
Yeah.
Wow. This is all around the world.
Yep.
Okay, great.
I don't refuse anybody.
Right, I understand. I do know that you're helping people have no finance. You know, you're helping them. You give the medicine to them, helping a lot of people. That you know, that's great. That's great. Right.
Yep.
It's a good story to share with us, and I thank you very much, Professor. Thank you very much to come to Biotech today.
All right.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
There you go.